My pleasure this morning to give our city update. Since John mentioned it, I'll start a little bit about the council meeting last night. Yes, we did go past midnight, but a lot of good discussions last night. Tropos, who is a chamber member, donated 2 compact utility vehicles. And so one was on display. So we're going to be able to use those vehicles primarily in our maintenance areas, and so we're super excited about those. So we accepted those last night. In addition, a couple other items on the agenda last night. The council voted to move forward with the Catholic High School's application to LAFCO. And so our role as a city is to bring that forward to LAFCO since council has approved that. And so that will include the high school as well as 3 contiguous properties. What is contiguous? I mean, that was discussed a lot last night. Somebody got out the dictionary. But basically, it pulls in 3 additional properties because that's what LAFCO wants when we go to them for annexations. They don't want to just have islands. And so it's basically the high school property as well as 3 additional parcels. And so next step is to go to LAFCO on that. Also last night we had a news rack consolidation ordinance that was brought forward. And so, as you know, there's many news racks throughout the city, and specifically for our case last night, we were talking about the ones that are in the public right-of-way. And so our program that we brought forward to council that was approved last night was to consolidate those news racks, really to help out with the litter that happens when papers are left all over the place, and then we have news racks that are currently empty. And so over the next several months there'll be a program underway. We've worked with the major and smaller news companies to make sure that those are consolidated, and we have 3 different spots where the cities purchased news racks, and so the papers would be put in those news racks. The other item I wanted to talk about was the ballot measures that Morgan Hill is going to have on the ballot in November. Our role as a city is to not advocate or to campaign, but rather our role as the city is to provide education and facts and provide information. And so you will most likely be seeing, whether it's in print or social media or at meetings such as this, presentations that we'll be providing to the community on the measures. So I just wanted to quickly summarize those. On the ballot for Morgan Hill, you're going to have measures H, I, and J. So H is basically a transient occupancy tax. So that's a hotel tax. So when you stay at a hotel in Morgan Hill, and most cities for that matter, there's a hotel tax. And so currently that tax in our city is 10%. And so the ballot proposal is to raise that to 11%. It's a general tax, so we can't earmark exactly what those funds will go to, but rather for general city purposes such as streets and road repair, public safety, and so forth. The next item is item I, which is our cannabis tax. Currently, Prop 64 passed, and so the use of marijuana is legal. However, in our city, we do not allow retail establishments, we don't allow cultivation, we don't allow testing. The council decided to put before the voters, if those uses were to be allowed, does the community, do the voters want the city to be able to tax cannabis sales, tax the testing, the cultivation, and so forth? And so what's going to be on the ballot is whether or not the city should tax those uses. The last one is Measure J, and that's basically to take our city clerk position, which is currently elected, and that would move it to an appointed position. And so basically the voters every 4 years decide on who the next city clerk is going to be, and in our case we've had the pleasure and honor of having Irma Torres serve outstanding city clerk. However, that's not always the case in cities. In order to run for city clerk, you just have to be 18, you have to live in the city limits, no knowledge or experience is required. And so we put this forward so that what's required is having that knowledge and expertise, and so that would mean bringing it on as an appointed position, and then you'd have the cost savings from not having that on the ballot every year. And then the city clerk currently earns a stipend as well as medical benefits, and so the city would save those costs. So those are our 3 ballot measures. In addition to that, you're going to see information you probably have from potentially other agencies about Proposition 6. Proposition 6 is the repeal of SB 1, which is the gas taxes that were passed a couple years ago. And what does it mean for Morgan Hill? So SB 1 allowed us to receive about $800,000 a year that goes directly into streets and roads repair. Proposition 6 wants to undo that. And so you may have seen efforts by agencies, whether it's the state, the League of California Cities, other cities, saying, Proposition 6 isn't a good idea for these agencies because the cities and the state aren't going to have as much money to go towards road repair and raising what we refer to as our pavement condition index. So we want to keep our roads in good working condition. So that kind of wraps up the 4 different items that you're going to see information on. And I just want to close in just highlighting a couple collaboration or partnership items that I want to highlight. One is working very closely with the Chamber. You probably heard from John or others that the Chamber, along with the city, hosted a high-speed rail day. We had 2 public meetings, one in the morning, one in the evening. We also, during lunch, had a meeting with High Speed Rail, as well as provided them with a tour. Great event. High Speed Rail Authority has been really active in meeting with us. They've been very open, as much as possible about their plans, and so they don't know exactly what their plans are, and so that they did convey that. But what they did convey is that they do have a new possible alignment, which is along the existing railway, Union Pacific. And they also talked about how that would potentially bring electrification of the Caltrain system, which was supposed to stop at San Jose, but with this would go to Gilroy. So it was a good day, good partnership day with the Chamber. And then I also wanted to mention, of course, with the schools, and I know Steve's going to be talking today, partnering with them on many initiatives. We meet, the city and the school meets every other month for a city school liaison meeting to talk about issues that impact both the city as well as the school. And then the last item, talking about partnerships, is we are executive sponsors of the city for a Santa Clara County leadership program for a specific project. And so we brought forward to them, sort of like Leadership Morgan Hill, the county has a program where participants do a project. And so myself and the HR director are executive sponsors for having these students go, or having these classmates go out and find out how can we attract youth to local government, so that we can attract talent, because we're seeing, based on the numbers that we have an aging population, how can we bring the youth into being interested about local government and even knowing about the myriad of job opportunities that are available. And so today I'm going to present that in Menlo Park, where the class is on their project. But they've done a great job, and basically they'll have a template from Morgan Hill to use with ideas, like a toolkit, and it's something that other cities can also take for them and use for their specific city purposes. And with that, John, I think I kept it under the time you wanted.
Questions for our city manager? Anybody want to play Prime Minister's question time here? You ever watch that? Yes, Jim.
Why do things take so long?
Excessive public comment from Jim.
I assume you're referring to our city council meetings. We have 2 meetings that are, 3 that are really on the calendar each month. The 1st, the 3rd, and the 4th Wednesdays of each month. And typically we'll have the 1st and the 3rd, and then the 4th just kind of depends upon the number of items. And so they can vary from meeting to meeting, as you know. And it really depends on the topic. It does, as John mentioned, vary based on public comment. And it also varies based upon the amount of information that the staff needs to provide to the public, as well as to the council, and then of course the council's questions, as well as their deliberations. Some items just require that due process, extensive discussion, and to kind of work through the issues. Some items that we take to the council, as Caitlin in her words from last night, they're not black and white issues. These are gray issues that do require analysis and require everybody to kind of dig deeper and to make good, thoughtful decisions. And I would add that the midnight close last night, that has been rare lately. I would say most of the meetings have ended earlier, and I've been at another city where, gosh, we've probably gone to 2 or 3 in the morning, and since I've been around in Morgan Hill, that hasn't been the case. Thank you.
So you mentioned with the city clerk, you mentioned something about stipend and medical insurance. If it goes to a point, will that be removed? Will be volunteer? Just want to clarify.
So the model that many cities have moved to is to have an appointed city clerk. And so typically what would happen is, and first let me back up a little bit, many of the city clerk's duties have been delegated to our deputy city clerk. So we have a paid individual that takes care of most of the day-to-day operations. And so the thought, if this passes, is that she or that position would then assume the responsibilities that Irma, as the city clerk, has is currently doing. So for instance, Irma is very involved in the elections process. So those that have run for council or mayor, she works very closely with them. She also does the ceremonial sort of things like the oaths of office. That's something that she enjoys doing and we like to have her at. And so those duties will be picked up. Similar to that, the position of treasurer also is currently an elected position. Many cities have that as an appointed position. So when I served as the finance director for the city of Gilroy, I was also the appointed treasurer. So those positions kind of go hand in hand. So you just have one individual filling that spot. So there you have the savings. Any other questions? All right, John, I think that's it.